our training agenda, I suppose, for this afternoon. We're going to look at logging in and the two-factor authentication options that you have as a club admin. We're going to go through the recent release. There's some substantial changes to the system, so I'll talk about what they are and how they impact the system and your club. We'll have a quick look at the BowlsLink app. This is a must for all your members. It's something that you should be promoting at your club. Club admins, you still need to log on to a laptop or an iPad, but our standard users, most of our members, they should be going through the app. Membership types is probably one of the reasons that forced this training session. Got quite a few clubs where their members are unfinancial, and that's going to be one of the tasks of our club admin. So I'll go through how that all works and what you need to do there. Another reason for today's training session is transfers. Obviously, the window opened on the 1st of April and closes on the 31st of December. I think there's still a lack of understanding the process. So I want to try and explain it the best I can this afternoon. Then we'll have a look at admin rights and how you can get a report of who has admin at your club and what's the process for putting a new one on or removing an existing. And then I'll finish with where's the best spot to get some support and training, and then over to questions. But if you do have any questions, as I mentioned earlier, just use that raise hand. Sometimes it's best to ask that question when we're talking about a particular topic. All right, first one is logins, two-factor authentication. I'm not sure all of our admins are aware of this, but you've got 3 options that you can log in with. The one that I use all the time, and I tell you, I hate to count how many times I have to do this in a day, but we all know the security reasons for it. I use the Authenticator app. It's a little bit harder to set up, but as you can see the screen there, all I do is put a code in, and then all my codes are there. I don't have to wait for the code to be sent to me. This is the Microsoft Authenticator app. I'll show you in a moment how we can get that set up. It's a little bit hard to get started, but once you're used to the app, you'll love it. I think the second one is SMS. That just stops you having to try and juggle your email account and a BowlsLink screen. So you can have your phone there and your BowlsLink screen going, and then the code, which is roughly about 10 seconds, will get sent as an SMS to your phone. And then I think probably the most common one is still email. So hopefully today you know a bit more about the options that you have, and you may think about changing. I'll quickly show you how to do that. Can you see my BowlsLink screen? Thumbs up if you can see it. Yep. All right, so this is not the club admin profile. This is my club's profile, and the giveaway there.
We've not talked, so I don't know if I've got them.
I'll just get that person to put themselves on mute if I can. Yeah, so this is a giveaway that's your My Clubs, and this is where you would come to do your teams, obviously through competitions and maybe to enter competitions. This is obviously not where your database is. So in here, if you click on Edit Profile, just need to let one more person into the room. Your last tab here is Security, and that's where you get to change your two-factor authentication option. So if you were to click on the Authenticator app, you'd have to have it installed on your phone first, and then there would be a QR process. So that's why it's a little bit tricky to get set up. But as you saw my screen before, the codes are instant. And they're, if you're on email at the moment and you want to go to SMS, just change that straight away to SMS. So just go through that again. You've got to go to your My Clubs profile, and you should see your details here and member overview and not membership. And you go to edit profile and you go to security, and then you select the option that you want to use. All right, I'll just get back to the slideshow. So there's the three options. I've got them in order. I think Authenticator is the best, but there is a bit of setup involved. If you're on email, maybe think about whether you go to SMS or not. You're more than welcome to stay to email. Okay, the release that came in recently to BowlsLink. Here's some of the big changes that you need to be aware of. There's no longer a secondary email and contact number in our members' profiles. It was causing some real issues. I'll give you an example. If you went and entered let's just say you had two different emails in there. So most people had the same email in their key details and in their personal information, but we had quite a few members with two different emails. And what was happening was they were entering competitions and it wasn't going to their key details one. So I think it's a low impact. I get the comment. We do have a lot of members. We do have a lot of members who share emails. What do we do with them? Because they've now lost that email. That email is still getting used in an email campaign. So I think it's a low impact. The next one was mandatory fields now in BowlsLink. So there's more of them. So email and mobile, if you edit someone's details, you have to put that data in. So it's a high impact to our club admins. And if members have missing data, probably the easiest thing is to not edit their details. I might just stop sharing and see who that person is. Got it. So yeah, it's a big change. So you'll see it now. If you go in and enter someone's details, I won't name and shame, but I might soon. Just if I can get you to keep yourself on mute. Look, I'm happy to take questions and open it all up a little bit later on, but mute if you can at the moment. I'll try again. So, yeah, the big thing now is if you go and edit someone's details and they're missing some of it, it won't let you save because it really wants that mandatory data. It may mean members might have to finally pull the trigger on an email address. And look, this is not the only system that requires an email login. I think I'm up to about 30 at the moment. Yeah, look, I get it. Some members don't have an email. BA are exploring potential solutions, and they're thinking maybe the ability to connect your account with someone else's. So let's say the scenario of partners they're sharing the one email, we might be able to connect those two together. And that's the details that you can share. Last one is they removed organisation in the data and they've replaced it with occupation. It'll be in the second page when you edit someone's details. I think it's medium impact and it might be actually really good data to have at your club. to know what sort of occupations your members have got. And if you're looking for volunteers, it might be a good way to find a new one. So that's the new release. It's all about data. So no more secondary email and mobile. We've got mandatory fields in our members' profiles and the change of organisation to occupation. BowlsLink App, I really think this is a huge win for our sport and for our members. Club admins, you're still going to have to go onto your desktop, whether that's a laptop or an iPad. But our members, they really should be doing all of this through the app. There's a couple screenshots of what it is. They can enter comps really easily through the app and see what competitions they've entered and pay. It's got digital accreditations now, so coaching and officiating have moved to digital cards, and they all sit in the BowlsLink app. Pretty easy to find in your app store. Just search for BowlsLink. It does require a one-time login, so it's not that constantly logging you out and logging back in. But if you have admin, you will have to do a two-factor for the first time. Once you're in, the other thing too is results. That result portal that everyone loves, that sits inside the BowlsLink app now. So it was basically an upgrade of the Bowls now to be BowlsLink and a lot more facilities. So I'll share the slides as well. If you want to put this up in your club, highly recommend promoting the app to your members. Competition entry is where it needs to be a lot easier. Okay, membership types. As I said earlier, this is probably the big reason for trying to provide a bit more training to our club admins. We did a bit of a report and noticed that we're sitting at least 50 clubs where all their members are currently unfinancial. And what it relates to is your membership type. So hopefully this table here explains it quite well. The database has now been split into two parts. So we have membership, and they're all your competition bowlers, your social club bowlers, and sometimes your non-players. And then we have a participation section, which is really new, and we need to probably provide a bit more training on this. But this is where you would sign up new members through a QR code. And they might just do a program, which is 4 weeks of corporate bowls. The good thing is they don't go into your membership. And this is what a lot of clubs are afraid of, putting those social bowlers into their database and then thinking they're going to get charged affiliation fee. Affiliation fees only apply to competition bowlers and social club bowlers, and they are in your membership side of your database, not your participation. And just another reminder here, to bring new ones into membership, we add a brand new member, or we do transfers. Participation is all about a sign up through a QR, and we'll provide a lot more education on how to do that. It's brand new, and we're still getting our heads around it. The thing is, both of these memberships and participation, they have a fixed annual or sometimes a flexible anniversary expiry. So this is what's caught some of our clubs out. If you go into your membership type, and clubs will have a range of them. They'll have full, they'll have social. They all have an expiry in there. And the most common expiry is 30 June, which I think is a good one because we've got a lot of members entering the novice and the over 60s. And if their membership has expired, they won't be able to enter. They'll need to be updated. If you go with a 30 June, it'll cover most of your members. I'm not saying that you have to do it. 31 March seems to be quite a few clubs. What you need to be aware of is that your memberships have expired and you need to update your members. And they all have a fee in there. Most clubs, they don't have a fee activated and they apply straight away. We're getting more and more clubs now actually putting the fees in and getting their members to pay them. Again, I think we need a bit more education on this, so that might come into our next club admin training, and I'll show you how to probably sign up brand new members that go into participation and how clubs are starting to take payment through the system. Just be aware though, if you do take payment, you need to have a gateway set up with BA, and I'll show you where that form is. So went through that pretty quickly, but club admins need to be aware of the memberships that are added to their members, especially your competition bowlers who are still trying to enter competitions. So if you've got a 31 March, you need to apply a new one, which will go to 31 March 2027. If your club is all 30 June, you can let them expire and then on the 1st of July, go in and update them all for the next season. Transfers, this catches a lot of club admins out, and it took me a while to really learn this process. I don't really want to show you the flow diagram that goes with it. So let's try and explain it pretty straightforward. So there's two parts to it. There's a transfer, which they changed the wording of now to try and make it clearer. So if you see the transfer button, that means you want someone to change primary club. If you see invite only, that should be saying, it's basically bringing in someone as a dual member or a secondary member to your club. And obviously they can't play pennant unless they're on a pennant permit. So let's go through the transfer one. That's where you want someone to come to you and change their primary club to yours. We would click on Add Existing Member. There's a search feature, and I might actually demonstrate this in a moment. And then we would click Transfer. What happens then is an invitation is sent to the member and their primary club. Most of the time, it's the member who accepts that invitation. Sometimes we get the primary club, especially if the member has no email, they accept it. Get a lot of clubs thinking job is done, and they're wondering why they're not showing up as a primary member. It's because the primary club needs to go in and approve it. Once that happens, primary club changes. Just a reminder here, the process is slightly different for someone who has left your club and wants to come back. You go up here and invite existing member and search for them. It'll say they're already in your system. What you need to do for those people is click on their first or last name, show you this, and click on Request Transfer. Basically what that does then, it goes to this stage and sends an invitation to the member and the primary club. And invitation needs to get accepted, primary club needs to approve. Dual members are different, getting a lot more of these at clubs now. They won't get charged affiliation fee. Good. So it's add existing member, search for the member, it's invite only. Invitation gets sent, and the member needs to accept it. Once they've done that, they come straight into your database. So there's no primary club needing to approve that invite because they're not changing primary club. They're just coming in as a secondary member, and they'll need to do that if they're playing on a pennant permit. Just a warning here, archive members can be transferred. So what happens there is they really don't have a primary club. They go to add an existing member. They'll come up and the transfer button will be grayed out and it'll be invite only. They will do a full transfer if you follow that process. Another warning too, interstate transfers now follow exactly the same process as an intrastate transfer. So what we do to get members within Big Bowls Victoria is the same way we get members from other states. Just a reminder, both states need to approve. So if you've got a member coming from South Australia, you follow this process, add existing member, search, click transfer, invitation goes to the member and the primary club. Generally, the member accepts the invitation. Primary club will need to approve. Bowls South Australia and Bowls Victoria will also need to approve. There's no more papers anymore. It's all done in the system. I'll just go through that in BowlsLink, and hopefully I can clarify some of those. So what I might do here is just click on my club, Heathmont. I know I'm in the members database now because I'm seeing membership. There's participation. So I would go add member, existing. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but we got the wording of this changed up here. So to find someone, you type their last name, you hit a space, and you type their club. I'm actually a dual member at Hawthorn because that was my first club. My primary club is Heathmont because which I transferred to, and the star actually identifies their primary club. So that's how we invite someone. I might try and invite someone from another club. Type Smith, sure we'll find someone. Okay, let's try and see Smith from Houston. Select. You see that now it's saying transfer. It used to say invite and transfer. We wanted to avoid that confusion. If you're clicking on here, you're doing a full transfer. If you're clicking on invite only, you're doing a dual membership. And I'll just go back to Heathmont's database. Another giveaway here in the club column, if the club name is not bold, it means they're a dual member. So Kobe is actually a marquee that we had this year. If I click on his first or last name, I'll see that Kobe's primary club in light blue is Club Tweed. He's also a secondary member at Heathmont and Paradise Point. If I want Kobe to come to me, I would click Request Transfer. All right. Okay. So we've gone through login, release, BowlsLink App, membership types, transfers. The last one is club admin rights and how to request a new one. So I'll share my BowlsLink screen again. To get that report, it's a little bit confusing. You go to club. Underneath club is a new tab called reports. In there is an administrator report. If I click on that and download, and then I click on the CSV, which has moved to another screen on me. What I don't like with this report at the moment is it does bring up some BV staff and BA staff. So if it's got BowlsVic or bowls.com, obviously they're from BA or Bowls Victoria, and the rest of them are members from your club. So that's a quick report to see who has club admin. If I want to request a new one, we had just a Victorian form. Now we've moved to a national form. It's in the green question mark in the bottom right. Click request support, and it's request an admin account. Takes you to here, which is a national form that you need to fill out. So who your current administrator is that's filling this out, what state you're from, please obviously choose Victoria. The details of your new admin, and really they should be applying for club admin. And then also if you want to remove anyone, put them in here. Those forms go to the STAs and they action it and let you know when they've been filled out. So just quickly go through that again. Green question mark, request administration account. Fill in the form. So it's who's the person filling out the form, all their details and what your role is at the club. Who's the new person that you want in? And you can do 2 at a time. Oh, sorry, their details. That's just one person. And then if you want to remove anyone. All right, so I'm back to the slideshow, and the last slide is where can you get some support and training. Look, there's three places at the moment you can get training. Bowls Learn has some really good units on there. The only thing is, as soon as they create one, we get a lot of updates in the system, so they become outdated pretty quickly. So just be aware that the BowlsLink can change, and what you see might not be exactly what you see in BowlsLink. I think the best place is the BA support website. And then obviously you've got myself. You can give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll try and have a lot more admin training. I might just show my screen once more and demonstrate where Bowls Learn and the BA support website sit. They're actually now in your BowlsLink. So I'm back in my BowlsLink here. Down the bottom too. So there's the Bowls Learn. It actually takes you to another website, so you will need to log in. But if I click on the course catalog, there's our officiating coaching, and here's a whole lot of BowlsLink units. So if you want to have a go at creating competitions, I definitely recommend looking at that one. If you want to do some email campaigns, have a look at that one, but just be aware they do outdate pretty quickly because the system updates 4 times a year. And the support website's at the very bottom. I think this is great. It's broken into categories. So competitions, if you want training guides on, tell you a good one, adding a team manager to your pennant team. There's a quick guide on how to do it. Obviously, club admins would be clicking on membership, and there's a whole lot of great articles that get updated all the time. So as soon as they make changes to the system, training guides come in here. So if you want to have a look at participation and sign-ups, they're in here. Really simple guides, and they also have a step-by-step guide as well. All right. a lot of information from me, so let's pull some information from our club admins and see if there's any questions.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, who's that?
Helen.
Hi, Helen, how are you?
Good, good. Couple of questions. The participation, has that been implemented fully and we can start using, or it's still coming?
Yes. I'm still learning it myself. I had a training session last week on it. I need to probably have a bit more of a go myself before I become confident on it, but it is ready to go. There's some training guides on the support website. It's done through a sign up. So I actually think there's quite a bit of process in it that we might need to make a bit easier, but basically you set up a competition. So let's say you've got Jack Attack and you don't want them to come into your membership, but you want them to go into the participation area of your database.
Yep.
You would set up the competition that would run the Jack Attack. So say it goes for 4 weeks. You would then set up a participation type. So that might be Jack Attack, and there's a fee attached to it. And then the sign up puts those two things together and gives you a QR. So you would get them to QR, they would sign in and then come into your participation area.
Okay, all right, that's really good. We're going to probably have a look at that soon. Just about the transfers. So the email that goes, is that still expiring in 7 days?
The invitation,
Yeah. Oh, yuck.
Give me a call if you're getting close to the expiry and it's not getting accepted. I can have a look and see if I can accept it on their behalf. What I'm accepting is not a full transfer. I'm just accepting it, and then it's still primary club needs to approve.
Yeah, okay. So if the primary club approves,
yep.
So it can still go through even though the member hasn't approved?
Let's say they don't have an email in their profile.
Yeah, that's right.
Primary club accepts the invitation on their behalf, which you would think they'd only do that if they knew the member was transferring. And yeah, they could be.
Yeah, so maybe they have an old email that's not even in use anymore and they don't know what their password is, even if they wanted to go back to that old email. So sometimes it's quite difficult.
Yeah, we generally get more the primary club hasn't approved than the case of someone getting put through by their primary club and transferred to another club. Right, very rarely happens, but yeah, you've given a scenario that could happen.
Well, I've got a guy from last year that has never appeared in our BowlsLink. He never accepted.
Okay, so that means the invitation never got accepted, because once the invitation gets accepted, they go into that pending state in your database and you can see it there. And whoever's in grey is the organising body that hasn't approved.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's the primary club.
So, all right. So that might be one thing, but what about people think that they were a member, but maybe they weren't? Do you know what I mean? This actually happens, you know.
Yeah.
People say, oh yeah, no. Last time I played at Heathmont, and I was a member there. And then you actually, like after you've made about 15 phone calls, you find out that he was maybe a member at Heathmont, but hasn't paid his fees there for maybe 2 years. He still considers himself a member there. So he's archived.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So if he's archived, then you as the new club can transfer him if they accept the invitation.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Probably with those cases, it might be better to give me a call and I can have a look in the system and see what's going on.
Yeah.
What we really don't want to see is the new club adding them as a brand new member.
Oh, I
that
didn't. I've done
correct?
nothing about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we get this. We get duplicates in the system, and that's probably because they don't have the right information in their profile.
Yeah.
That will get flagged if they're trying to use the same details.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to speak to you.
You too.
All right. We've still got plenty of time, so if there's any other questions, please use your opportunity. No? Marie, you got a question? Sorry to pick on you, but I can see your camera. What about you, Coral?
Yeah, the only one I've come across is, and I've gone individually to members, is when the database was originally set up at our club, everybody started their bowls on the same date in the same year. Now, to find records of when they actually started, I've actually have to go to the person to change them. So I've got people, they're all started in 2013. I've got a lady who had 50 years this year, another bloke 54. Well, that doesn't record unless you sit down one day and got nothing to do and check these out and write their names down. So is there any other way of finding records or prior to that or not?
Well, obviously, yeah, it requires the club to fill in that member since date.
Yeah, well,
And
nobody can seem to find that.
Yeah.
Those records. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it may mean going to the member and then getting that date and then you updating it in the system.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing bit by bit now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they're entitled to have their right date or year or as close to as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
thank you.
Good question. You're welcome. Marie?
Yeah, following on from that, I have that same issue when it comes to checking whether people are actually eligible for a novice event. Sometimes it's people that have transferred into the club and have played elsewhere before, but you don't know, and there's nothing at all in the system, and I don't know how do I find out other than asking them. And sometimes they say, oh, I don't know.
You send it to me because I get to see where they've been at other clubs, and what I would be looking for in their profile is their list of their memberships that they've had, and when they really first time they got that competition bowler membership type is what I look at. Yes. So I had one of that someone this morning, and I went into their profile. I noticed that they hadn't been at any other club except their current club. And then I went into membership, so I could see that really their first membership started on the 1st of July, 2024. And I would classify that as their affiliation date.
Right. Yes.
We have asked BA to have a development to actually get an affiliation date. We're still waiting on that in the system. I'd love to have it.
Yeah.
So it just clearly says, and once you get a competition bowler, that's your affiliation date. Because you can get some people who are in your database, but they've always had that non-player because they've probably just been very social. They've never really pulled the trigger on a competition bowler, which is pennant.
Yes, and that's what makes it difficult. I actually sat back and went through some that I knew that had only started, but I didn't know whether it was the 2, 3 or 4 years, and went back till I could find them playing a pennant game. So I just went back through all the previous years' games until I found where they did start. So then I knew whether they're eligible or not to go in. But that takes a bit of...
Yeah, we're hoping to take that work away. But unfortunately at the moment, I think the best place to go is to have a look at their memberships. And if you see that they've had social for, 3 years and then finally pulled the trigger on a competition bowler, I'd classify that as their affiliation date.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've got a comment here from Trevor. Records are showing by year and by division, but there's no total. Okay, I think this might relate to games played. There's definitely developments that are coming. I don't know when and how quickly, but the developers are really talking about statistics that can flow into BowlsLink, so players will know how many games they've played, and we may have the ability of backdating it. But the only thing we've got sort of at the moment is some reports in the result portal, but we want to have them in the system. I hope that answers your question, Trevor. Any more questions? Thanks, Trevor. All right. Well, we'll call it there. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. I will pass on the recording to everyone so they can have a look at. Hopefully, I've given you some advice on what two-factor to have. We might see a few more SMS as opposed to email. There were some good changes in regards to data. There's a lot more competition changes coming in the end of July, so I'll let you know about those. I think your members need to be using the BowlsLink app, so promote that at your club. They don't need to be going on a desktop. They should be seeing the app version of it. Be aware of your membership types and when they expire. You don't want to be in a situation where all your members are unfinancial. So just be aware of that. Know your fixed expiry date.
Hey, Matt.
Transfers, yes, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Just regarding the members using the app, have you got some, did you say you were going to send through some slides that we can put up around the club?
I might, Helen, I might even have a chat to our comms area and see if we can get a nice flyer that you can put up in your club to advertise it.
All right, that would be good because there's a little bit still resistance.
Yeah. Look, I guarantee once they get on, they'll go, oh, this is great.
Yeah,
because
maybe,
it's got the result portal in, which they love.
Yep.
I don't know if you've had a go at entering comps, but it's so much easier.
Yeah. We do it. Well, there's a group of people that are doing everything in the app, but there's another group of people pretty much not using the app at all, I would say, who didn't do scoring or anything, last year. So
yeah, scoring at the moment is still a separate app. There is talk of putting them together.
Yeah.
Which will be good. But at the moment, yeah, I'd be promoting the app.
Yeah, good.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
Transfers. Look, we know it's a little bit confusing, so hopefully today I've cleared that up. And club admin, you really need to know who has club admin at your club, and that report that I showed you will show you that. And then there's a new form to add and remove club admin. And don't forget, there's plenty of training out there. I think the best one is the support website. It's got a lot of great articles on there. So just work out sort of where you need that training. Head to that website, and you'll find plenty of training. And always give me a call or shoot me an email. So thank you for your time today. Look out for another one of these training sessions. I think I'm aiming for roughly about June. So we'll have a look at a couple more things, and we might talk a bit more about managing teams and allowing others to manage, and I might have a better idea of participation and how you can take payment of membership through the system as well. So look out for that. I'll send the recording and pass it on to your other admins, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Bye.